this over here. Actually, I'll put this over here.
Right, we are back on another Wisco Fanatics Wednesday. We got a lot of basketball talk today, a lot of Bucks, a lot of Badgers, and the NBA trade deadline is tomorrow. So we're also going to be discussing some trade deadline stuff with the Milwaukee Bucks and who we think they're going to go after, who we want them to go after. But we're going to start with the Badgers, and it's been a touchy subject at best. And we got the split week with the Badgers. We'll start with the win from last week against Ohio State. So, Jake, what did you see against the Ohio State Buckeyes that stood out to you?
So this game started with the Badgers on an 8-0 run. They allowed Ohio State to go on an 8-0 run. And then the Badgers responded being up 17-10, really controlled everything in the first half. They were making shots. They were playing a great defense. They looked exactly like the team that we wanted to see respond, to all the losses that were piling up, at least from my end. Hi, Tim. How you doing? Second half comes around. Things start going the way that they have been going. Offense gets stagnant. Offensive rebound, extra possessions. They're dribbling around for the entire possession, hooking up horrible shots. You just look at the rebound. I'm talking about offensive rebounds. I should have wrote those down. My fault. But we got out rebounded 45-26. I mean, that can't happen. That's a lot. I mean,
double.
Yeah. If it was within like 6, 8, I wouldn't point it out as much. But it's 20, 19. Right. But that's a big number, So. When you really break it down, I mean, this game got within 2. I mean, thank God that the Badgers played some really, really clutch defense at the end, and they forced Ohio State to have 16 turnovers while the Badgers only had 8. So that was probably one of the key factors, in my opinion, to why they won this game. This game got within 2. The Badgers made a couple free throws. Well, Chucky Hepburn, the 2 free throws he made, I swear to God, they touched every part of the damn rim. And I was like, please just fall. The first one, I was like, Just make the first one so I can just at least know that it's at least tied if they make some bullshit, And he makes the second one, and I'm like, all right, you know what? I can just relax now again because, I'm watching this. I'm cooking dinner. I turn the TV because we can see it in the kitchen, and I'm just like, my God, they are blowing us. This is horrible. But they ended up holding on to the win. So like you said before, they don't count how, they count how many. So this was another one on the notch in the belt. But obviously the woes from the second half went into the Northwestern game, but we'll get there in a sec.
All right. So I like the action that they opened this game with, and this is something I'm going to continue going on when I talk about some of the things to potentially improve on. But they started this game by running Connor Essegian off of a bunch of screens. He had 5 points in the first minute of the game, and Max Klesmit hit a transition 3. Mm-hmm. So the Badgers, they got moving around a little bit in the beginning of this game. That it almost felt like a new team just by having just those subtle tweaks. And that's all I'm really asking for. I'm not asking for a complete overhaul to the entire program, the entire system. I'm really just looking for tweaks. Like last week I brought up sending some guys for offensive rebounds. It's just some subtle things that the Badgers can take from losing games by 2, 3, 5 points to winning games by 2, 3, 5, 7 points. Yeah. And that's really, obviously, like people are going to continue harping on the free throw thing, but that's been a consistent problem for about a good month and a half now. So we might just have to accept that the Badgers are going to be like a 65-70% shooting team at the free throw line and start looking at other ways to improve the team outside of just complaining about the same thing every single game. So, beginning of the game, a little bit of transition, a lot of screening. I want to give 2 things with Chucky Hepburn. One good, one constructive. One, he got off of a screen with the ball in his hands, dribbling, and he did a really good job of keeping a defender on his back. That's a veteran move to be able to keep that defender on your back, not let him get back into the play, and basically just, have the look at the basket without the defender contesting your shot. Mm-hmm. The other thing is I want to see Chucky Hepburn, after he makes an entry pass on an offensive possession, I want to see him cut to the basket. or run instead of screen for the guard on the other side. We see a lot of Chucky Hepburn, Max Klesmit, Connor Essegian sets. If Chucky Hepburn is entering the ball to Connor Essegian, go set a screen for Max Klesmit. Cut to the basket, something instead of just passing and then standing there waiting to get it back. This is something I brought up like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I brought it up with Chucky Hepburn that he passes the ball and he just waits to get it back. This is my college basketball coach. Boo Boo, he needs to retire. Guy's been playing college ball for like 7 years. Coach, I'm sure that's the exact way that Nebraska felt about Brad Davison for the last 11 years.
Yeah, for real.
Basketball. But yes, I agree. Boo Boo, he needs to move on. Just like, I'm sure if I was a Northwestern fan, I would think that his name is cool. But because I'm not, it annoys me.
I agree.
All right. So back to the Ohio State game. Steven Crowell dunked on a guy.
He did. He did do that.
That was awesome to see. Steven Crowell started this game 5 for 5 in the first half, and I think the biggest thing that I noticed with Steven Crowell was that he was being decisive. As soon as he got the ball, he was doing something with it. You know, we didn't see a whole lot of the possessions of, you know, back to the basket, dribble, 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 2 more dribbles, and then, you know, a jump hook or something like that. Like Steven Crowell was quick. He caught the ball, and within 3 seconds, he was either moving it or, you know, 2 dribbles and getting a shot. So that decisiveness from Steven Crowell is something I'd like to see continue. Unfortunately, we're going to talk about it in the Northwestern game that it wasn't the case.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the Bryce Sensabaugh incident. I personally don't think it was as big of a deal as some people made it out to be. To me, it was more of just a frustration thing. It was something to me that it wasn't like an egregious thing. You know, it wasn't like a dirty play trying to hurt somebody. In my mind, it was more of a frustration type push. However, Holtman, Ohio State's coach, is starting to enter some Fran McCaffrey territory.
Yeah.
He's not quite that bad, but he acted Fran McCaffrey tonight. Or in that game. I shouldn't say tonight.
I agree. I know
that game.
Yeah.
Coach asked, okay, serious question. Does Chucky Hepburn need to be the guy to shoot the final shot to tie or win a game? Personally, I still say yes, but it just needs to be a better quality shot. I agree with pretty much word for word with what Greg Gard said, that Chucky, you know, is a guy that you trust to take the shot, but it just needs to be a better shot. It was, I want to say, like the second or third last possession that the Badgers had. Chucky Hepburn got a screen from Steven Crowell. Both the screen defender and Crowell's defender stayed with Chucky Hepburn. He had Steven Crowell wide open on the 3-point line, and instead he chose to drive and then ended up shooting a step back that he missed short on that possession. So it's just that balance of getting better shots is where I'm at with Chucky Hepburn at the end of games. Getting into the what's up, Dan? Getting into Ohio State free throws, and Chucky Hepburn gave the Badgers a 16-point lead at some points in the first half. Look at that. My coach agrees with everything I say sometimes. Klesmit had 6 points in the first 4 minutes of the second half, so it's good to see Max Klesmit getting going after coming back from his injury against the last Penn State game. We'll have a rematch up tonight. Connor Essegian had a drive to the basket, did a behind-the-back dribble, and then got a layup out of it. And then he had another drive where he drove to the basket, got his shot blocked, but he stayed with the play, grabbed the ball, and put the ball back before he even came down with it. Definitely, Coach said taught me well. For me, the thing, you know, it's not necessarily even that the Badgers just blew the lead. Like, we know that they go through scoring droughts at times, but it was really, honestly, like, oh, God, this is really not a sentence that's going to be fun to say. I give credit to Ohio State for making their free throws and scoring in transition.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say that. Fuck that. I ain't giving credit to I'm not giving them credit for shit, man.
It feels gross.
I'm sure it does.
Max Klesmit drew a charge, kind of helped get the momentum back for the Badgers. And, I want to bring up something on the subject of missing free throws. One of the guys who's really struggling this year, especially compared to where he was last year, is Tyler Wall. And I think I'm going to echo this when we talk about our Northwestern game, is that he just doesn't seem to be himself.
No, the confidence is not there. 100%.
It's not the only thing that I think that's not there, but I'm going to save a little bit of that for the Northwestern game when we're talking about some potential improvements. To give Chucky some credit, he was 3 for 4 on free throws in the last 30 seconds of the game. The Badgers, 41.8% on field goals in the Ohio State game. Not great, obviously, but I want to try to cultivate a mentality of not comparing college basketball stats to NBA stats.
It's not even close. I don't know.
I really want to get away from that.
Why do we do that? Why?
I think it's just a thing where people are like, they're in the mindset of, NBA teams should be shooting 50 from the field, 36 from the 3 and 80 from the free throw line. And it's really, in college, it's much more like 45, 30, 33, and 75 is really where I'm, looking at it.
I get that, but like you're comparing kids, like literal kids, to professionals. Right. And I understand that some of the professionals are kids too, but like the superstars are not.
Well, you're looking at a concentration of talent in the NBA. So I just it's much more diluted in the college because there's more colleges, than there is professional teams, obviously. Right. So I really, really want to try to make that distinction on our show, is to distinguish between the college stats and the NBA stats. I really think that's important, and I think that's going to help potentially change some of the general feelings in the fan base, is if they can make that distinction, like say, hey, we can't be judging college student athletes on an NBA, expectation.
Scale.
Yeah, scale. So Connor Sejan was 5 for 10. Chucky Hepburn, 5 for 14. Not the best. Stephen Crowell, 6 for 10. Very efficient. Max Klesmit, 4 for 9. Not bad. Tyler Wall, 2 for 10. That's where the efficiency needs to pick up. And if it does, I think that's where we're going to get back into the Badgers teams that we saw play against Kansas and USC and the early team that was up to 14th in the rankings at one point. I really think Tyler Wall makes a big difference in that. So the Badgers did struggle from the field, but they did distribute well. 9 assists on 23 field goals. Again, it doesn't sound like a lot, but college basketball versus the NBA, it is different. Especially for a team like the Badgers that plays through the post as much as they do and run a lot of isolation with that. Yeah, James, I did play college basketball. I only played for 1 year, but that's Scott Farr that's commenting on there. That's my college basketball coach. All right. You ready to get the ugly game out of the way?
Been ready. Literally, when I was going into this episode, I'm like, I just want to get to the goddamn Northwestern game, and then I'm going to be okay.
I mean, after we get through this, we get to talk about the trade deadline, and then we talk about the Bucks, who are on like a really great winning streak. So we have that going for us.
I know. Awesome. Can't wait.
All right. So what stood out to you from the Northwestern game?
So first thing I wanted to share, I found this stat. So it says the drop-off in Badgers free throw shooting. So I'm really glad that you brought it up in your portion for Ohio State. The drop-off in the Badgers free throw shooting since the 11-2 start is stunning. UW was at 69.9% through 13 games. Nice. UW is 56% in their last 9 games. So they've dropped 13% from the free throw line. And I grew up with 2 rules. And when I was learning basketball, both of them came from my father. One was, if they don't score, you can't lose. So always put all of your heart in defense.
Okay. I like that.
That's one thing that I've always, and me and you talked about it when we talk about Badgers football and any sport, really. We love defense. Like we put our heart and our soul in defense because that is what wins championships, right? And everybody knows that rule. The next one that I always grew up with is free throws win games. And if you watch any of the Wisconsin Badgers losses, the really shitty ones, I mean, they got blown out by Indiana, but some of the really close losses, simple things like free throw shooting and, boxing out and rebounding, those are things that could have won games for this Wisconsin Badgers team. Those are fundamental things that you should be doing if you are at least a mediocre basketball team, right?
Yeah.
You don't even have to be great. If you just do
That's
the little things good, you'll be good.
You know, those to me, those are like the skeletons of a basketball team.
Yeah, 100%.
Like that's the foundation of your house. You know, that's that's the first page you start with when you're forming a basketball team, and it's taking care of the ball, boxing out, making free throws. Those are the three things for me. That's really where I'm at with that.
I 100% agree with you. 100%.
Yeah, so that's pretty much where I stay with it. So, I'm just I'll leave it at that, because obviously, I track the fundamental failures. It's a little bit harder to find all those things for basketball all the time, but I will.
Yeah, the points off turnovers is tough to find. I mean, you can find it with NBA pretty easily, but yeah, college, man, for some reason, college is just very secretive on their stats, man. Like the advanced ones, at least.
I can look, and I'll see if they have it.
You have to catch it during the game and write it down in 0.2 seconds, or you're not going to get it. It's weird. But the Badgers' offense was just not working. Just a lot of dribbling, a lot of forcing up bad shots. And, all that stuff is fine and dandy. They're not going to be perfect. They're not going to grab the ball and shoot the ball in 8 seconds and make a three-pointer or find an open layup. But, especially with the Badgers offense, the motion offense with, post touches and moving around on top and back cuts. And the Badgers, I'm going to propose something. I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Okay.
How do you feel about moving Stephen Crowell to the 4 and just getting a straight-up defensive-minded center?
Okay, now
I'm just putting it out there. I'm not saying it has to happen.
I'm totally fine with it, and I've seen this on Twitter discussed this way a lot, is that the Badgers miss Chris Vogt.
They just need a guy to grab rebounds. That's all I'm thinking about. Not even just just get rebounds.
The very first impact, what I thought with Chris Vogt, was remembering the games last year where he had 5 total rebounds, but 3 or 4 of them are offensive.
Yep.
That's why that's such a big thing for me, is the offensive rebounding. Chris Vogt was a guy who was really big with that. Jordan Davis is doing what he can, but Jordan Davis isn't going to go get us 3 offensive rebounds a game. He might get us 2 in one game and 1 the next, and average 1 offensive rebound a game, but he's not going to average 3 offensive rebounds a game like Chris Vogt did for the Badgers last year.
I agree.
It's missed.
It is. Those extra possessions. The only reason I was saying that, because I was thinking about it, and I did see the Chris Vogt thing, but that's not what triggered me. The reason I was saying that is because the way that the Badgers play, I think a little bit more size on the floor would be something that could help.
Sure.
Especially
I agree.
Like you said, with the offensive rebound, that would definitely help, just having some longer arms out there. And, I don't want to take Tyler Wall off the floor necessarily, but maybe having him with a bunch of minutes as 6 man and just tell him hey, you're the engine that's going to make this second unit go. I think that could be a great thing for this Badgers team too, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They could use another ball handler though. I won't lie about that.
A backup point guard. And that's what we had hoped from Jacoby Neath. And we just never really got it because he dealt with so many injuries over the course of it.
Kind of sucks.
And it is what it is. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So I pulled up the fundamental failures. I was able to find them where I get them for the NBA games as well. Not really what I expected, to be honest with you. Ohio State game, 9 missed free throws, 12 points off turnovers for Ohio State, 8 second chance points. That's 29. Against Northwestern, 6 missed free throws, 8 points off turnovers, and 4 second chance points. That's only 18. So the big difference was the field goal percentage.
Yeah. And the lack of dribble drive ability, I think, really hurts the Badgers. That is number one for me, the lack of ability to attack from the perimeter. Because and I think that you made a great point with Hepburn. Not to interrupt you, but I
No,
think
you're
you made a great point with Hepburn. It doesn't make the defense move when he just stands there, right? So that's easy to defend us right there because like, oh, okay, well, if he's right here, he's either going this way or, he's got to get a screen this way. You can figure that out on the fly in a game, a good defender. And then, the lack of us being able to go inside, pierce it from the inside, like you give Grayson Allen credit for. I'm just giving you all the credit today. Grayson Allen.
Just
Grayson
wait
Allen's
till we get into
ability.
the trade stuff. I'm gonna be more braggadocious about myself. So
you already told me his ability to break down a defense and get inside. Like people don't understand what that does. And Grayson had one. God, what game was it? Jesus, it might have been the Heat game. Grayson had one driving from the right side, gets in the middle of the paint. The entire defense breaks down around Grayson and Giannis, and he finds Pat Connaughton wide open. Why is that the guy you leave wide open? Like, what?
Yeah.
But
could you imagine Connor Sejan getting that wide open of looks?
That's what I'm saying about the dribble drives. And I think Klesmit's a better shooter than he's shown as well.
Oh, I agree.
I think that if we had a guy that could get into the paint, break down the defense, and kick out to him, getting some wide open looks and rhythm, I think that could completely turn this Badger season around. But we just don't have that guy. And it's really sad. Jordan Davis is a nice player in a lot of areas. He didn't get the ability to be tough and get to the rim. That's the one thing. Like, if I was going to give him one thing from his brother, that's the one thing I would give him.
Off the dribble.
Yeah. Man, it just sucks. I mean, it is what it is, but people talking about the Badgers are out of the dance already. They're not. I mean, they got a small chance, but Tyler, how many times are we going to have this goddamn conversation? We did it with the Brewers. We did it with the Packers. They're not done yet. Exactly. They're not done yet. They could literally rip off the next 5. Who the fuck knows? If they're all by 1 point, I don't care. That's 5 wins. I do not care.
They have how many?
Exactly. So to all those people that are like, oh, it's over. They're not going to make the dance. Oh, our streak is over. Like, no.
Turn your TV off until April.
Yep, and I don't want to hear you. I literally blocked 3 people this week because I just don't want to see their shit anymore. I'm just sick of it.
It's like you just said. How many times have we had this discussion? I mean, literally the last 2 seasons that ended, we had this discussion for the last, 3 weeks of each of the seasons?
At least.
I mean, well, the Packers, we did it for like the second entire half of the season. But the Brewers, why count them out? What's the harm of just hoping they can do it and waiting to see if it happens?
Yeah.
There's no satisfaction to be gained if the Badgers miss the tournament and you get to say, oh, back on February 8th, I already counted them out. Like that satisfaction of being able to say, I told you so is so not worth the potential optimism you could have from now until the end of the Big Ten tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
That 15 seconds of dopamine you get from saying, I told you so, is not worth being negative for the next month.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
It's not. So, Badgers and Northwestern, free throws continue to be an issue, and this is why I'm saying we might need to just look at other things instead of just harping on the same thing every single game. Well, if the Badgers made free throws, there's nothing instructive about that. We know it's an issue. It's on the top of the list for things to fix. We need to continue to find more ways to potentially overcome some of those issues.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be one thing that I'm really focusing on over the next month of the season is looking at, aside from the obvious stuff, which is free throws currently, what else can the Badgers do to improve their record and just to win games, period. Connor Sejan got out to a slow start. Missed his first 4 shots, hit 2 of his next 3, got going a little bit. Northwestern, this frustratingly, they were getting a lot of second and third chances, but the second chance points don't show that. They were not capitalizing a lot of those second chances. So this is a game where the Badgers lost by 2, and you can go, oh, the Badgers missed 6 free throws. They easily could have won this game. They easily could have lost it by 10 as well.
Yeah.
So, it is, 2 sides of a coin there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm back to, my thing with how the Badgers can improve is more ball movement, quicker ball movement, and more screens. That's really what I want to see from the Badgers offense. Those are the two main things: quicker ball movement and more screens.
Mm-hmm.
Second half, Chucky Hepburn hit a deep three-pointer to tie the game at 26. Connor Segan gave the Badgers their first lead. He was really heating up. Chucky Hepburn was feeding off of that, was turning up the defense. Chucky Hepburn then ended a 7-0 run by Northwestern with a 3. The Badgers, they just need to sustain. It feels like just one big run a game. Like if the Badgers can just get one 8-10-0 run in a game, that they'll win some of these games that they're losing. And it's just that they either can't get the offense or they can't get the stops just consecutively to go on a sustained run. This game was indicative of that.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing in this game. Chucky Hepburn did give the Badgers back the lead, but his shot selection is like, I don't want to be super harsh and say like Chucky Hepburn's shot selection is terrible or he sucks, or like people are saying that like he's not a D1 college basketball player or he shouldn't be a starter. Like that's the extreme that people are going to, and that's not the case. Like the very worst thing that I would say about Chucky Hepburn is that his shot selection is poor at times.
Yeah,
that's at times. I don't feel that his shot selection is always poor, but it is at times, and some of his late game decision making has been questionable. And here's what I would suggest with those being overly critical of Chucky Hepburn is to just think of this as a learning experience for him.
Yeah.
Because, and you said this the other day when you and I were talking, and I want to give you credit for it, is that this season, regardless of how it ends, let's say the Badgers miss the tournament, this season will be a learning season for a lot of players. Chucky Hepburn, Connor Segan, Stephen Crowell. Chucky Hepburn's only a sophomore. Stephen Crowell, pretty sure he's a sophomore. Connor Segan's obviously a freshman. Isaac Lindsay is a sophomore. These guys are all going to be able to take a heaping scoop of learning opportunity from this season, regardless of how it ends.
I agree.
So, Badgers, this game, 38% from the field. Chucky Hepburn was 6 of 15. Connor was 5 of 14. Now, here's where I kind of draw the line on the difference between the Ohio State game and the Northwestern game. Nobody else took more than 6 shots.
Yeah.
Chucky Hepburn and Connor Segan took 60% of the Badgers' shots in this game. And we saw it with the previous game. I mentioned that Stephen Crowell was 6 for 10. He only hit 6 shots in this game. That to me, Stephen Crowell is one of the Badgers' 3 best players. He needs to get the ball more.
I agree, 100%.
And, the Badgers were doing really, really well, and they built their lead against Ohio State by getting the ball into the post. And you can work that inside-out action, which I'm a big fan of, especially if the ball is moving quickly. And Stephen Crowell, he can score. He's shown it. So give the guy the ball. Let him get some shots. And I'm not saying that we need to take shots away from Connor and Chucky, but it's just that's where that shot selection comes into play.
So let me couple 2 of your points together real quick. Okay. One, like I said before about Chucky moving the defense, when you throw the ball down into the post, the primary defense where the key is on the defense moves. So not even him getting a shot, him just getting the ball in the post, that gives the defense something to think about. So now that big man's thinking like, all right, I got to be ready. They might swing it back and it might go back to Crowell. So he might just be a half a second late rotating over on a back cut. So even if he doesn't shoot the ball, which I agree 100% that he needs to shoot the ball more, even if you just get it down there, to him or Tyler Wall, Tyler Wall is a little bit of an underrated passer in my opinion.
I agree.
When he's feeling himself, when he's actually Tyler Wall that we've come to know and love. Yeah. So I think, I don't know what needs to happen, but maybe he needs to go in that dark room with Rodgers for a couple of days because
the other thing when the ball goes into the post is that basically every single perimeter defender takes 2 steps away from the guy they're guarding.
Exactly. So kickouts.
I mean, boom. If we can, and I think Tyler Wall would be better at this than Stephen Crowell, is if you can get Tyler Wall the ball in the post on the block, get him to take 2 dribbles and look over his shoulder. If he can make that over-the-top pass to a guy like Connor Segan or even Max Klesmit, you're looking at some really quick swings and those guys potentially getting some open shots.
Yeah, or like that could be an opportunity where, you know, they throw it to him, you get a pump fake, you get a you know, a half-ass breakdown on a defense, and all of a sudden that's a flyby.
I'm about to draw you a picture right now. I'm gonna draw you a picture.
We like art.
Because I want to see this. I want to draw a play for the Badgers right now. Greg Gard, if you're watching, check this shit out. All right.
What's Dr. Tyler got on board for us here?
If I had a dry erase board handy, I would use it. And excuse me for my terrible drawing, but I'm trying to do this quickly. All right. So you got Tyler Wall on the block, Connor Essegian out on the wing, Chucky Hepburn at the top. You have Tyler Wall backing down. Like I just said, you can look for Connor Essegian on that pass over the top. Let me do you one better. If Connor Essegian's guy is, like I said, say 2 steps off of him, you have Chucky Hepburn go set a screen for Connor Essegian, have Connor Essegian come towards the top of the key, and then Chucky Hepburn fade to the wing. So you're looking at this now. Where is this circle defender going to go? That right there is going to get an open 3 for either Chucky Hepburn or Connor Essegian, because Chucky Hepburn's guy is going to stay with him. If this guy, the circle guy, goes with Chucky Hepburn here, Connor Essegian's going to be wide open here. If he follows Connor Essegian, then Chucky Hepburn should be open over here. And you have one pass and an open 3-pointer. There. I just drew up a play for the Badgers offense. You're welcome.
Well, here's the counter to that. If they switch, you might get a guy that can't stay with Chucky on the perimeter. So if you swing it back out, then you just created a mismatch. So people are going to say, well, what if you play switching defense? You might get a guy that coaching staff did not want on Chucky, you know, because he's a little bit slower going to his right, and Chucky attacks him with his left hand, gets to the rim, that's a layup. So just simple things like that, man. Like, come on.
You should coach a basketball team together someday.
Well, I am coaching a basketball team right now, and we are currently undefeated, #1 team in the league. So I'm feeling pretty good right now. When we move closer, me and you can coach them together.
All right, sounds good.
Looking forward to that.
I brought up Stephen Crowell not getting more than 6 shots in this game, and I brought up a couple of things with the Badgers' record. Mm-hmm. So the Badgers are 8-4 when Stephen Crowell is in double figures. The Badgers are 6-2 when Stephen Crowell takes more than 6 shots.
Okay.
I mean, it's not 100% correlation, but to me, that's a pretty strong standout statistic.
Okay, I'm with that.
So as far as wins and losses go, Stephen Crowell is very important to the Badgers. And if he's not being utilized, it's going to be harder for the Badgers to win.
Agreed.
So this is painful. Tyler Wall, he's still playing really good defense, so he is still himself defensively, but he's not himself offensively. Yeah. And this is rough. His finishing at the rim percentages, he's down 20% since last year.
That hurts.
That's exactly what I was thinking. That one hurts. 20% lower at the rim last year than this year.
Jesus Christ.
That's rough. So the offense needs work. Chucky needs to improve just some of his late game decisions. I'm not mad at Chucky Hepburn. I just want him to learn from it. Yeah. Is where I'm at. Like, I'm not gonna say Chucky Hepburn shouldn't be on a D1 team, or he shouldn't be starting, or Chucky Hepburn's not the guy. Like, Chucky Hepburn's still the guy. He just needs to become a better basketball player. He's got the skills. Now it's time to turn the basketball IQ up. We had the same thing with Giannis over the last 5 years. Mm-hmm. We know he has the physical ability. Now it's time to turn up the IQ and become the next level basketball player. That's where Chucky Hepburn's at, in my opinion.
Yep.
Now, I'm going to say this, and I think there's maybe one player that could maybe make a case for it. But if we're talking about players reaching their potential, I think Chucky Hepburn has the highest ceiling on the Badgers.
Oh. Damn. I really want to stay a season. I'm not going to lie to you.
And that's the only guy that I was thinking of who the argument could be made for, and I wouldn't be like no, but
If the Badgers had a guy that could roll to the rim with Chucky, where like it was like almost a mismatch every time that they got the ball down low, not every time, I think I would 100% go with Chucky. But since we don't kind of play that basketball, and oh God, I am so mad. I'm backtracking. I'm sorry. Why did I not bring this up last week? Why the hell do the Badgers never run high pick and roll? That's like the number one play in basketball right now. High pick and roll.
Yeah.
That is the number one way to guarantee your point guard is getting a mismatch. Number one. I don't know why they don't run that.
Yeah.
And they could run that with Tyler Wall because he's a little bit quicker and he could still finish down low. And you would be getting Tyler Wall running towards the rim.
True.
I should have said that last week. I apologize. I had it written down and I did not say it.
That's all right.
I was just like, wow, I blanked in that moment.
Here's my thought. Bill said he was also thinking of Sejan. Now, let me articulate why I say Chucky Hepburn. Because I think if we're talking about reaching their potential, I think Chucky Hepburn is a guy that can get you 20 points and 5 assists.
Okay.
And reaching their potential, I think Connor Sejan is a guy who can get you 25 points and 30 once in a while. Now, here's where the distinction comes in for me, is that Chucky Hepburn is also going to guard your opponent's best perimeter player.
That's fair.
Connor Sejan, currently as he is, he's got to be hidden on defense a little bit.
That's fair. I mean, I want to give Connor a year in the weight room, let him get acclimated a little bit.
Which is fair. And if we're talking a year from now, my opinion could be totally different.
Oh, 100%. And I'm not saying that it has to stick that way, but
right.
Chucky kind of came in and he already kind of had the body that he has. He already had the shoulders and stuff a little bit. So that's the difference between them already on the first day of just looking at them, right? But I think in today's game, the three-pointer and stretching the defense is so valuable. And not that Chucky can't be a valuable three-point shooter, but he also has to be the playmaker. God, that is fucking tough, dude. I'm not going to lie to you. I would still probably lean a Season, but I am not mad at you at all for saying Chucky. Not at all.
It's the two-way thing for me.
I agree with that.
All right. Is there anything else you really want to say? For me, the biggest thing between the win and the loss was the discrepancy in Stephen Crowell touches. That's the biggest thing for me.
Nah, I think the last thing I think I'll say, obviously the Badgers play tonight and they play 3 games between now and next week. So I think now is the time, not for soul searching, but it's like it's nut up time. It's like, all right, it's time to win some goddamn games. If we're the team that we think we are, this is what the leaders are saying to everybody else. If we're the team that we think that we are, let's go win some goddamn basketball games because they're fully capable of still running off wins.
Oh yeah, for sure. We saw it at the beginning of the season. Like I said, 6.5 weeks ago, they were ranked number 14 in the country.
Yeah.
I predicted, just saying, that the Badgers would get ranked and then people's expectations would skyrocket and then they would struggle and people would freak out. Here we are.
Yeah.
So Badgers play Penn State tonight. They play at Nebraska on Saturday, and then they're home against Michigan on Tuesday. And I'm going to predict a 3-0 week strictly because I believe the Badgers will beat Penn State, and I believe that they'll beat Nebraska. I cannot express to you how badly I just want to beat the absolute shit out of Michigan on Tuesday.
If we don't get a goddamn 2-0 day on Tuesday, I'm gonna be fucking livid, dude. Because the Bucks play the Celtics.
Wednesday will be rough if we don't get at least 1, if not 2 wins next Tuesday.
My soul needs 2 wins. I need 2 wins on that day so bad. I'm gonna also say 3-0. Penn State, solid team. They got what the hell's his name? They got that one freaking guy, Pickens or whatever his name is. He's a beast. Nebraska, but Michigan, I think if the Badgers can get 2 in a row and start feeling a little bit better, confidence is feeling good, shooting the ball a little bit better, I think that straight up adrenaline, the crowd's going to be into it because it's in Madison. Like, I think that one could be a really, really – that could be a season turner. If we run off 3 straight and beat Michigan at home, that's a season turner for us.
I agree. I want to win that game so bad, and I hope
Oh.
Hunter Dickinson shoots 1 for 69 that game.
I hope he gets hit in his Hunter Dickinson.
All right, I'm with that. All right, so let's talk some NBA. Let's get to the trade deadline. The trade deadline is less than 48 hours away. Or not less than 48, less than 24 hours away. Sorry, we're about 21 hours away from the trade deadline. Okay. I want to get 2 thoughts from you. Okay. Josh said Badgers need somebody like you, big and ugly.
All right, Josh, you son of a B. All right.
I'd take Andrew Bogut on the Badgers right now. I'm not mad at it.
Wow. Dick joke's real mature, guys. Says okay, you, bro. Yeah, right.
You need to take a look in the mirror on that one, Simon. All right. So, NBA trade deadline. I want 2 things from you. Okay. 1, I want to know what you want the Bucks to do. And 2, I want to know what you think the Bucks are going to do.
These are 2 very different things. Just going to tell you right now.
Yep.
What I want the Bucks to do, and this is going to sound insane, but I don't want them to do a goddamn thing.
Okay.
We have not seen this team fully healthy. With the additions that we made in the offseason. Bobby now got hurt when Chris was coming back, and before Chris was hurt and Bobby was playing. So we kind of got 2 different, and we haven't even really seen Chris be inserted into the starting lineup even really.
He's
so
played,
that's
like 21 and a half minutes is the most he's played so far.
Right. So that's a completely different conversation right there. You know, Bobby comes back. He's the man back on the bench. And then you insert Chris, the 20 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, the steals, the shooting, whatever, into the starting lineup. That's a completely different team than the team that we've seen this entire year. And yes, we've seen Chris and we've seen Giannis, but the thing, people never take this shit in consideration. They work out in the offseason and they get better at shit. Like Giannis literally said, and we talked about this last week, that he thinks he's better than he was last year. So you add Chris into this.
He's at 60% of what he's capable of.
Yeah, you're still fucking, by the way. So
nuts.
What I want them to do is not anything. I don't want them to do a goddamn thing except get healthy. If I could pick something, I would say just get healthy. Okay. Get healthy and be ready for the playoffs, which they already are. I have no worry with a leader like Giannis that this team is fucking ready to go. So the thing that I think they're going to do, I think they're going to go out there. They're going to bring in a petty little wing defender, a guy that plays defense, and they're just going to insert him in the lineup for a guy like Jason Tatum when we end up meeting them in the Eastern Conference Finals. That's what I think they're going to do. And I'm not going to say that I'm going to be okay with it because I want to see what they send away. I want Grayson and I want Pat on this team. I swear to freaking God. Yes, I'm on the Grayson train right now. If they trade Pat Connaughton, I will fucking riot. I will riot.
That would be.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
That would be tough, and I don't think it's going to happen. Like they went out of their way to extend him, so whatever you're getting back isn't going to be worth what you're getting from him.
I agree.
So I'll come back. Well, let me stay on Pat Connaughton for just a second because I've seen his name pop up, and it's a scenario where even next year he's going to be making like $9.5 million. He's still not getting paid what he could get at $9.5 million. In a world where Duncan Robinson doesn't play defense and makes $18 million a year to shoot 38% from 3 that he's at this year, when Pat Connaughton can shoot that and play defense, versatile, 1 through 4, and is a guy who will dive on the floor and give you 6 rebounds a game, give me Pat Connaughton for half the money.
He's a winner.
Joe Harris is another example of a guy who's making $18 million a year to do jack shit for the Nets.
Bro,
they would literally got trade Joe Harris.
Oh, 100%. And you don't think that the Heater
against the Bucks? He could have, but he was trash that whole series.
He was horrible. Thank you, Joe.
appreciate it. Also, thank you
Thanks,
for cutting Javon Carter. I'll still thank you for that as well.
Yeah, man. I forgot to bring that up too when we were talking. We were giving him love last week.
Good thing they got Goran Dragic for half of a month.
Yeah, for real.
But for me, on wants and needs, what I want is to not trade anybody from the top 8 in the rotation. So for me, that's the starting lineup of Drew, Grayson, Chris, Giannis, Brooke, and then Pat, Bobby, and Joe Ingles. After that, I'm more okay. I'm more willing to do a trade, and Bill agreed with you emphatically to not do anything. On the think train, like Ibaka is going to get traded. And that's pretty much just a doing right by Ibaka. Like he wants to be able to get some minutes somewhere. And if the Bucks can do the Jordan Nwora, George Hill, Serge Ibaka, and second round picks for Jay Crowder, all in favor of that. If they can do a scenario like Bill got to, my next guy is Matisse Thybulle. I actually just wrote about this today. Matisse Thybulle is only making $4.3 million. The rumor is that the Bucks are reigniting their interest in Derrick Rose. I would so much rather trade for Matisse Thybulle. Obviously, he's way younger, way cheaper is the big thing. If the Bucks could trade Jordan Nwora, Serge Ibaka, and a second-round pick or two for Matisse Thybulle, done deal.
He's guarding Tatum.
Yeah, exactly. He's 6'5". Like the Bucks had 6'1" Javon Carter and 6'3" George Hill to throw at Jalen and Jason last year. Obviously, it didn't work for the Bucks.
Nope.
So having a guy who's 6'5", that's a much better scenario to be in, and a guy who's his career defensive rating is 106, and his current defensive rating, even though he's not playing much this year, is 109. That would be third best on the Bucks this year.
Third best. We are so goddamn good. Holy shit.
You want to take a stab at the two guys who have a better defensive rating than 109?
Well, it's going to be Giannis, right?
Yeah.
And I got to pick of two.
You got to pick one of two guys.
I'm going to say Drew.
Nope.
Brooke.
Wrong. It's Brooke.
Damn it. Should have went with the big man love.
Should have. Josh said Robin return. No, I don't think so.
I mean, maybe we just bring him back so we can fight Bango. I'm not sure. That could be fun.
If you're worried about chemistry, bringing in Robin Lopez would be a guy.
If he's just going to sit on the bench like Serge Ibaka is, fuck it. Just bring him in to wrestle the goddamn mascot. Let's go.
So, Bill, yes, I do think the Bucks could get Matisse Thybulle without getting into the top 8. If the Knicks seriously think that the Bucks are going to trade them Grayson Allen for Cam Reddish, like they got the good stuff, because that's not even remotely close to happening. So where I'm at with predictions is the Bucks are only going to do a trade if it doesn't affect the top 8 of their rotation, unless they can get a player who is going to affect their team more than already they're getting from those guys. So, and really the only guy that I could see in that category would be Jordan Clarkson. And from all reports is that Utah wants to keep him. So that's not fine. Anything I think is going to happen. No. But really what I'm thinking is just, I think they're going to try to get Jay Crowder. That's really what I think the Bucks are focused on. They're the only team that's been granted permission to speak with him, and I've heard the talks went well. So really, that's what I think the Bucks are focused on, is just getting Jay Crowder.
He's not getting any minutes with them right now, is he?
He's sitting out. He's been holding out.
Yeah.
So the Suns they're going to trade him. Otherwise, they risk just cutting him and getting nothing when they could get, some expiring contracts and picks.
Yeah. Well, that could be a guy that we can get for pretty cheap, I think.
Right. He's the guy that I think the Bucks can get without dipping into their top 8 in their rotation.
Yeah, I agree with that.
James said, speaking of the Bucks, they're number 1 in the power rankings. Congrats on that, I guess. I mean, they're on an 8-game winning streak. It's hard to not put them at the top of weekly power rankings. Just like, we're gonna do our power pair in a second here, and I think the sentiment is going to be echoed in that as well. I just want to answer one of Bernard's questions, because Bernard pops in here once a week with an Aaron Rodgers question. And I'm just gonna hit this one real quick. Do you think Aaron Rodgers is weird?
Do you want me to answer?
Yeah.
Because everybody's definition of weird is different. So I'm going to say no. And real quick, before we just move on real quick, everybody talks about mental health, taking care of mental health. We got to take care of your mental health. We heard Marshawn Lynch talk about take care of your mentals. That was a few years ago for all you young kids. He said, take care of your mentals. But when Rodgers is doing what he has to do to take care of his mental health, then it's weird. No, whatever you have to do to take care of your mental health, it's none of my goddamn business anyways. Yeah. You got to sit in a fucking room for 4 goddamn days? Sit in a goddamn room. I don't care. It doesn't affect me. I still got to go to work tomorrow. What does it matter to me?
See, here's the thing. The Packers, if Rodgers was going on a 4-day trip to Hawaii and wasn't taking his cell phone with him, nobody would give a shit. Nobody would care. If he was just going on a 4-day retreat and unplugging, nobody would care. But because he's doing something that's different than what other people, classify as, making sense. It's, the whole darkness retreat thing, it is what it is. It's a little more on the fringe thing. I've heard of doing similar things. I don't know about 4 days.
That's a little
like
long,
that's a long time, but I've heard of a thing. It's called a 12-hour walk, and it was written by a guy who walked across Antarctica. And basically, what it is you walk for 12 hours, no music, no companionship, and it's just you and your thoughts for those 12 hours. And it's not about doing this different mental health thing or whatever. It's about being alone with your thoughts for so long that you gain the clarity on what you want for whatever it is that you're going to get clarity about. So, no, I don't think it's weird. I think it's just really something that people just don't understand, so they think it's weird.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's not for me, but who am I to judge what you do in your personal time? Because I probably do stuff that people think is weird too. Like I eat peanut butter and bacon together. People probably think that's weird as hell, but it tastes delicious to me. So that's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah.
Being isolated in the dark
for people and James, I'm not saying this to to offend you or anything, but just because it's not something that you wouldn't describe as fun or something that thinks that wouldn't be good for you, it doesn't mean that that's the best practice for somebody else either.
Yeah,
you really
so
just gotta let people do what is best for them.
His mental state is going to be different than yours. Is all I'm going to say.
Right.
And I'm not trying to take a shot at anybody, but
right.
I probably couldn't handle sitting in a room in a dark room for 4 days. I know that about myself, so I'm not going to do it. But
right, and that's just Rodgers it's really just not the point that I'm at in my mental health journey, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Rodgers is so advanced in his self-awareness. Yeah, mindfulness, self-awareness, whatever.
Yep.
He's just so advanced in that stuff. He talks and he cares about that stuff so much that he talks to people that we have no access to. So I'm sure he's not the first person ever to isolate himself for 4 days.
No. That's why I bring up the 12-hour walk thing. That's just it's a smaller, less extreme version of a similar concept.
Yeah. So, like I said, man, obviously his mental health, he can handle that kind of stuff. So that's his thing. And if he sits in a room for 4 days and he comes back and he throws 38 touchdowns for the Packers and we win the division next year, I don't give a shit. I really don't.
Right. So yeah, let's let people do what they do. Let them do their thing.
Yeah. Facts.
So getting back to basketball, Josh asked what happened to the Suns. He said, "I know CP3 was born around 10 BC, but damn." Chris Paul and Devin Booker have both been hurt, and DeAndre Ayton is not a max contract player. So that's that. I do like Mikal Bridges. If the Suns would rather trade him than Jay Crowder, I would happily take him. I love me some Mikal Bridges. That dude's legit.
Yeah, he is.
Bill asked if I'd rather have Thibault or Crowder. Personally, probably Crowder. I mean, he's got more experience. And and he's a little more of that dog type player than Thibault. Like Thibault's a really good defender, but like Crowder's got a little more of the dog in him. So if I had to pick one or the other, I would probably pick Crowder. But that's where I'm at with that. All right, let's do some Bucks power pair. Give me your Bucks power pair. Obviously, we both have Giannis, so start with Giannis.
Yeah, we got the man who won back-to-back Player of the Weeks. So he's pretty good at basketball, I would say. He averaged 37.6, 15.6 rebounds, 7 assists. He shot 43 for 72 on field goals. That's 59%, and he ended the week at a plus 46. So when he plays basketball, he plays good.
In 3 games. That's so nasty.
That's stupid. It's so stupid. And then my next one, this might surprise some people because he didn't put up crazy stats, but he was also on limited minutes. But Chris Middleton. And when we get to the Heat game, I'm just going to say right now, we don't win that game without Chris Middleton. 17.6 points, 5.6 rebounds, 3.6 assists. So, again, in limited minutes. So, add another 10 minutes to these stats, and these stats are, like, super boosted. He shot 20 of 39 from the field. That's a 51% mark, and he was plus 16 from the field. So, again, he was very effective. In his limited minutes, Giannis was plus 46. And then you get to your underrated performer. I have a guy that the first game of the week, the Clippers game, he scored 0 points, but his defense was valuable. He scored 6 points in the next game, and then he scored 11 points against the Blazers. So he had an average of 5.6 points, 3.6 rebounds, 1.6 assists. He only shot 40% from the field. His name is Javon Carter. You know what Javon Carter also did? Plus 33.
Damn.
He shot 40% from the field and only averaged 5 points per game and 1 assist, and he was plus 33.
Damn.
That man makes a difference, and I don't care what nobody says.
Now, picture a version of him that's 4 inches taller.
Yeah, right.
That's Matisse Thibault.
Yeah, 100%. Except Carter does the pull-up threes, and when he gets cooking with the pull-up threes, he's a problem. He's straight up, like, if he was more consistent with that, he'd be a starting point guard, in my opinion, because of his ability to get hot from there and his ability to play defense. You can live with him not being the main ball handler because there's enough guards out there that handle the ball and
ball handling and passing is, I think, 2 other things that would hold him back from being a starter. I think I'd say he could be a starter on some of, like the Orlandos and Oklahoma City, maybe.
Like the lower level teams. I agree with you saying. Right. But when he gets hot with the pull-up three and Brook Lopez is rebounding and blocking shots, because you know what you're going to get out of the other guys, right? When those 2 things happen,
some long rebounds. You get Javon Carter going in space. I love seeing Javon Carter in space. Like, I feel like every time he shoots that pull-up jumper that he's going to hit it. And I said this on Twitter, but he doesn't get credit for how hard those shots actually are.
Oh, right.
Try going from a full sprint to a dead stop and going straight up when all your momentum is going forward, and then you need to stop and go straight up. That's a tough shot because all your momentum wants to carry you forward.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why a lot of those shots end up hitting the back of the rim and then bouncing straight back to the guy that shot the shot.
Yep,
that's a tough shot to hit. So I give Javon Carter credit for that, and I like that pick. So I obviously had Giannis. You pretty much covered everything you can about him. He's the man. He's that dude.
He's the best in the league.
He really is. And when you consider both ends of the floor and then the efficiency and the minutes, like it's not close.
To me, it's getting to the point because, I didn't even say that he's number 1 in defensive win share, but like it's almost disrespectful at this point to say he's not the best. The dude averaged 37. He's number 1 in defensive win shares. Name somebody better. I fucking dare you. Like, come on. Just leave it at that.
All right. So you got that. You got Giannis. I put this guy, he's been an underrated performer, and I think that you could pretty much just nickname him underrated performer, but I put him in my power pair, and I want to give him some love, and it's Pat Connaughton.
Yes, sir.
I put Pat Connaughton in my power pair, despite only averaging 11 points, 6.3 rebounds, and a steal per game in the last week. He shot 54.5% from the field and 44.4% from the three-point line. Pat Connaughton over the last month has been a very, very consistent three-point shooter outside of 1 or 2 games.
Yes, he has.
That's why I bring him up in the same breath as guys like Duncan Robinson and Joe Harris, who make 3 times as much as Pat Connaughton does this year and twice as much as Pat Connaughton is making next year, and that people still don't respect the role that he has for this team. Pat Connaughton is a crucial part of the Bucks' success.
Mm-hmm.
He's not the most crucial part, but he's a crucial part.
I agree.
Pat Connaughton would be a 6th man on just about every team in the NBA, if not a starter.
Yeah.
Obviously, we see him start for the Bucks when guys are injured, but like he'd be the first guy off the bench for just about any team in the NBA.
Yep.
So he's crucial to the Bucks, and he was crucial to the Bucks during their title run. He really was. He made a lot of clutch threes, especially during the Brooklyn series.
And every once in a while, he goes in there and gets a big man rebound.
He does.
that gets me hyped, bro.
Like we've had, like seeing him like bleeding from the eye, and he keeps playing games and stuff like that. Like the dude he gives it all.
100%.
So we love Pat Connaughton for that. Like if he gets traded, we riot.
Yeah.
Like Pat Connaughton is one of those guys that I feel like is going to retire a Milwaukee Buck. I really do.
And I really hope so, man.
And I think Drew Holiday will as well. Giannis will. I'm a little torn about Brook, but I think probably. And I put Chris Middleton in that probably category as well. Maybe we should do that maybe we should do a segment of that.
That could be a fun off-season one.
All right, I'll write it down. Okay, so my underrated performer, I went with a guy who did average more points and more rebounds than Pat Connaughton, but I want to give him some love for what he did in one game specifically, and I put Brook Lopez as my underrated performer because he averaged 14 points, 6.7 rebounds, 57.1% from the field, but only 20% from the three-point line.
Yeah.
So he had a little bit of a rough week at the three-point line, which is something that potentially could, disqualify him from being a power pair player. But he really carried the load offensively against the Blazers in the first half, like single-handedly. And Giannis struggled a little bit in that first half, and Brook carried the load offensively. So that, and I really don't think people give him enough credit for how good of a two-way player he is.
No.
Like we know we can shoot the three, and we also know he's second in the league in blocks per game. But it's really weird. Like we know Giannis is a great two-way player. Like people know Joel Embiid is a great two-way player. But from Brook Lopez, it's weird. Like it feels like we know Brook Lopez, the Splash Mountain guy. And then we also know Brook Lopez, the guy who's at the top of the league in blocks.
Mm-hmm.
But it almost feels like they're different players. I don't know what it is with Brook Lopez that it feels different that way. I don't know if maybe that's just me and I'm weird, but does that feel that way to you?
I think a little bit this year. He's went a little bit more old school, and he's been down low a lot more. Like he like surprisingly, I'll say I'll take the time frame of 2 weeks. Over the last 2 weeks, he's been like really good at like putting the ball on the floor and like finishing. It's like I'm like, you look a little awkward doing that. You're like a gigantic tree just moving with a basketball, and it's weird. But he gets in weird spots, and he just has really good touch. Brook has good touch, and he has good hands. And how you can tell somebody's touch.
We get some Dirk Lopez moments.
And the fadeaway jumpers, the layups. I mean, he's a good free throw shooter. I mean, god damn, we are lucky to have the players that we have. And I think of it like a science experiment. I think that the chemistry, the mixture of talent that we have, that's why I don't want to make a trade. The mixture of talent that we have all works together perfectly. So why change anything?
Yeah. And back on the subject of trades, like basically the way I'm looking at it is I only want to trade players that are outside of the playoff rotation and picks for a guy who would be in the playoff rotation.
I agree with that 100%. I'm on board with that.
Steve asked if I'm ready to play this season. Yes, Steve, I've been getting lots of shots up every day. Ask Jake. I text him every time.
That's true. He's been getting hella shots up, Mr. 305 over here.
All right, let's talk about $3 games, and starting with the Clippers game. What stood out to you from last Thursday?
So
back here.
To state the obvious, the first thing that you see when you open up the box score at this game, like not even going to break down anything real quick, the first thing that you see is Giannis has 54 and 19, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, why are you doing that, bro? And then you see that the Bucks only led this game for a few minutes. I have it in my photos here. I found this on the Bucks app here, and it's cool in my opinion to see how long that they led. I sent it to you earlier. Let's see, is this the Clippers game?
Yep. I'm just going to address two comments real quick while you pull that up.
Go ahead.
One, David said, I heard the Packers are trading Rodgers to the Bucks for Giannis. Well, the Bucks already have Rodgers, so I don't think they really can do that.
That's true. I don't know why we're trading it.
Steve asked about what do you think the Bucks about trying to get D Rose. I just don't think it's going to happen because they'd have to trade either Grayson Allen, Pat Connaughton, or Joe Ingles, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't want to trade in any of those guys either. Now, would I be okay with getting a Derrick Rose? I think that he could fit in 100%. Another dribble drive guy, another guy that could finish. I think defensively he's not the greatest, but when you have Brook and Giannis behind you, I think you can make up for some things.
And
but
you can put him on the floor with Drew Holiday.
Yeah. So do I think it could work? Yeah. But do I want it? No. I don't need it. But
not
I will
likely cost.
I will say that if he comes here and he wins a ring, it's going to be hell for Chicago fans. Because I'm going to tell you,
you didn't think about that.
I was going to say he had to come play with us. He had to come to our team to win a ring, boy. But
awesome.
That's like the first thing that I thought of. So back to the Clippers real quick. You see that the Bucks only led for 4 minutes and 38 seconds. That is insane. They were down by 21.
The last 4 minutes and 38 seconds?
Right, bro. Technically, Rodgers has the Bucks, but Giannis as a tight end. Giannis as a tight end would be scary for anybody. That's all I'm going to say about that.
He's fucking gigantic.
Fucking 7 feet tall and jumps 40 inches in the air.
It'd be like just being a giraffe in open field.
Jesus. And he's not afraid of contact. He says he likes contact. So, I mean, scary hours. That's all I'm going to say about that. But I like him on the Bucks because I think, my prediction is going to sound pretty stupid, but I think over the next, I'll say 5 years, I think the Bucks are getting at least 3 titles. That's all I'm going to say about that. The Bucks are set up, dude. The time is now.
I agree with you that they're set up as well. That is a good.
They're set up, and Giannis is in his prime, and we have the shooters, and we still have the playmakers. Chris Middleton's still young enough. Drew Holiday's still young enough. Brook Lopez is looking a little bit younger. I think that the time is now for the Bucks to go on a title run. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, you mentioned like Pat and Bobby are both locked up.
Yep.
I agree.
And even Grayson's locked up for a few years, even if we don't trade him. 3 years. Right?
This year, next year.
This year, next year. Okay. Well, 2 years, but he's going to get a title. Grayson Allen's going to be an NBA champion. So that's all I'll say about that. Today, Coward said Middleton and Ingles. What did he? All right. Never mind. You know what? I don't care what he says, Tim. I don't care what he says.
That's weird. That's not.
God. That guy. I'm just going to say this real quick before I get back to this real quick because I'm sick and tired of bouncing back and forth. If Skip Bayless wasn't a giant jackass, Cowherd would easily be the dumbest sports announcer.
Yeah.
But Skip Bayless being a dickhead, what's what makes him the worst.
Yeah.
Grayson does own the Bulls. That is true, yep. Isaac. Yeah, I laugh at that too, David. So the Bucks Clippers the Clippers are a good team. Clippers were playing really, really good going into this game.
Yep.
But the Bucks have Giannis, and that's really what it came down to. Not amazing ball movement, but Giannis just started chipping away, getting in the lane. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to let you go now. I feel like I've been rambling on for 20 minutes, but I am just –
I'm going to ramble for the next 20. You've only been talking
I don't understand Colin Cowherd, but whatever.
I think people like him just because he makes the lists.
Dude, we can make lists if it's going to get us $10 million a year. I will make a list every fucking day.
I'll make
every day. 2 lists.
For $5 million.
I agree.
Tim said he only listens to Cowherd because he follows Dan Patrick, and I get busy at work to change it. Dan Patrick is good. I like Dan Patrick.
That's fair. Dan Patrick doesn't deal with shit.
Simon says I'll quit and make lists. You can get fired and make lists.
That was a good
All right. Bucks Clippers. Bucks got off to a really slow start. They started 3 for 15 and 0 for 6 from the 3-point line. Giannis was 1 for 7 and 0 for 2.
Yep.
And 0 for 2 at the free throw line to start this game. So real slow start for Giannis at this game. Simon said I've been rehired. Yeah, it's on a temporary basis just because we're doing a show on Friday night. Beginning of this game, Drew Holiday was guarding Kawhi Leonard.
Mm-hmm.
Bucks were down 10-4 at the 6:39 mark of the first quarter, so almost half of the first quarter, and the score was 10-4. And then about a minute later, they were down 16-5. So Isaac Colin Coward will not be on our show.
No.
Chris Middleton still coming off the bench. So first quarter, the Bucks got down as much as 15 points, and they only scored 15 points in the first quarter. So Bucks go on a 13-0 run at the end of the first quarter and the beginning of the second quarter, tied the game at the 10-15 mark of the second quarter. Basketball's a game of runs. Said it before, say it again.
Yep.
I want to give a pretty big scoop of credit to Drew Holiday for his defense. He was guarding Kawhi Leonard, and Kawhi Leonard has the ball up here, and as he brings the ball down to do his rip through, Drew Holiday goes from the high hand to arms out to avoid that rip through foul that guys like Kawhi Leonard, Paul George are so good at drawing. So Drew Holiday, that's just an IQ thing. It doesn't go noticed, but I noticed it, Drew Holiday. I see you. That's great stuff by changing that arm from being up and out to out wide at the sides. That's good stuff, Drew Holiday. That's a little thing that people might not notice, but I noticed, and that is great stuff. So Drew Holiday, you're the man for that. So we get to towards the end of the second quarter. Clippers go on a 10-0 run, put the Clippers back up 9 points. Bucks are down 7 at the half. Giannis had 20 points in the first half. So you know what that means for the second half. But it didn't start great for the Bucks. It really did. No. Clippers went on a 9-0 run coming out of halftime. The Bucks were down 20 points pretty quickly. Clippers were hitting all of their mid-range.
Yeah.
So I think it was, I don't remember if it was Marcus Johnson or Zora Stevenson said that like mid-range is still an important part of the NBA, especially if you can do it well. And the Clippers have guys that can do it well, like Terrence Mann, obviously Paul George and Kawhi. Like those, a guy like Terrence Mann doesn't really get as much notoriety because he plays on the same team as Kawhi and Paul George, but he's a really solid player.
And Norman Powell's good too, man.
Freaking Powell only plays well against the Bucks, I swear to God.
No way. He had a freaking sick dunk the next game. But Norman Powell, I mean, dude, the Clippers have a freaking fat-ass roster, dude.
Yeah, they're good. So I want to highlight 4 consecutive defensive possessions by the Bucks. First one, Pat on Marcus Morris. That dude is 4 inches taller than him and probably weighs about 50 pounds more.
Oh, yeah.
Pat Connaughton forced him into a contested jump shot. Next possession, Wesley Matthews guarding Ivica Zubac. 2 possessions in a row. First one forces a jump hook mix. Second one, he drew an offensive foul on Terrence Mann. Then the third possession by Wesley Matthews, the 4th one in a row, forced Marcus Morris again into another missed jump shot. That's Pat Connaughton and Wesley Matthews doing work defensively to get the Bucks 4 straight defensive stops in the third quarter.
Wesley Matthews has a very strong lower body, so that's why he can get away with guarding 4s every once in a while. Even if he gives up height.
Twice.
Yeah.
Right. And drew an offensive foul. So good for Wesley Matthews. So, all right. Okay. Wesley Matthews. the other thing with Wesley Matthews, he drew a loose ball foul with 0.5 seconds left on the clock in the third quarter. He made 1 of 2 free throws, but that did cut the lead to single digits.
That's big
So I
stuff.
wanted to bring that up. That's what I wanted to bring up with Wesley Matthews. I had that written down. All 3 of those possessions came in the last minute and 17 seconds of the third quarter. That's what I wanted to bring up with that.
Ooh, that's good. Good point.
So we get into the fourth quarter. Giannis, to get his 40th points, gets a tip slam over Zubats. Just catches just right over the top of him. That's what gave him 40, was a tip slam.
For years, they killed the league with DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin jumping over people, and now they're getting payback for it, and I love it.
How the turntables. That gave Giannis the most 40-point games in one season that he's had in his career. He broke his career high. Chris Middleton hit a 3 that cut the lead to 2 points with 6 minutes and 24 seconds left. Giannis had an and 1 that gave him 50. Giannis is so wrong for this. 54 points and 19 rebounds in 36 minutes.
People
bring up per 36 minute stats, and a lot of guys' numbers go down, like Luka, who plays like 38 minutes a game. Bro, if Giannis averaged that for 36 minutes, 54 and 19, like he'd be Wilt fucking Chamberlain.
Bro, I was just going to say, they always bring up the per 36, and Giannis is the only guy in the league where like his per 36 might be accurate. Like, seriously.
Oh, man. For the fact that he scored 54 points in 36 minutes is just ridiculous. He scored the Bucks' last 12 points in this game.
Yeah, he went bonkers, dude.
Last 3 minutes and 52 seconds, Drew Holiday guarding Paul George, Giannis guarding Kawhi, Wesley Matthews on the last possession against Kawhi Leonard. Master class in defense.
Clamps.
Absolutely clamps.
That man was lost. He was lost. He had nowhere to go, bro.
Put him in a phone booth.
Fucking A, he did, man.
Oh, man, that was great stuff.
That was really hard not to get up and clap and be like, let's fucking go! Because it's like midnight.
Masterclass by Drew Holiday defending Kawhi Leonard on that last possession. 3 minutes and 52 seconds at the end of the game. The Clippers did not score.
Yep. That when I saw that, I was like, holy shit. For all the talent they have and the way they looked in the third quarter, that's crazy, dude.
And at the third quarter, at one point, the Clippers led 75-55. Over the last 19 minutes of the game, the Bucks outscored the Clippers 51-30.
Oof. Yikes.
So this is the Bucks' largest comeback win of the year, down 21 points at one point. So I brought up Giannis' stats. Chris Middleton had 16 points and 7 rebounds in 19 minutes, so very efficient there as well. Yeah, Tim likes that one. Isaac said Giannis was telling dad jokes while dunking on him. Yeah, you like that? 51-30 over the final 19 minutes of the game.
The flippers, Isaac. The flippers.
The flippers.
He only calls them the flippers.
Careful, that's Isaac's favorite team.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Send the middle finger free throws. Gave up 8 points off turnovers and 15 second chance points. That's 31 fundamental failure points. That's exactly what they needed to get the job done to win the game by 1 point. So let's go to the Bucks and the Heat on Saturday.
Real quick, shout out to friends of the show, my girlfriend's sister Brittany and her boyfriend Justin. That was Brittany's first game, was the Bucks Clippers game.
Oh, that's right.
And they nicely enough gave me the lap blanket that they gave out at the game. So I should have brought it down here to show you. I meant to do that, but next week I'll do that. It's pretty cool, man. It's like purple and has the old purple logo with the antlers and the ball. Oh, it's sick, dude.
Nice. The other thing with this game too is after the game, Giannis was talking about his 54 points, and he's talking about Culver's. I know it's been shared on our page and around there, but Culver's donated 54,000 diapers to a place that Giannis and his girlfriend Mariah work, a charity that they work with in Milwaukee. So that's great stuff as well. That's a
awesome.
good story coming out of that as well. So Bucks and Heat.
Yeah, man. I mean, what more can you want from a superstar, man? He gives us highlights. He gives us W's. He's going to give us titles. And now he's donating diapers to babies. I mean, this guy's fucking Superman, dude, at this point.
Giannis and Culver's, like, I mean, if we're talking best combos
dude,
in Wisconsin and you get to pick, like, a player and a food place, Giannis and Culver's is hard to beat, bro.
That's pretty high up there. I won't lie. I agree with you 100% there. So let's go to this Bucks Heat game. The Heat, like we talked last week, the Heat play everybody tough just because of their brand of basketball. And I'm going to give some respect to the Heat real quick. First of all, Adebayo is a fantastic player, fantastic ball handler for the 5-man.
To give him respect, 100%.
He can jump out of the gym. He can grab the rebound and be a one-man fast break. He has turned into a tremendous player.
He rivals Embiid if he could shoot the three a little bit.
I would agree with that. I mean, he's gotten very good at the mid-range. From his rookie year to now, he's gotten very good at that mid-range. And then the next guy, he was living up to his name for a lot of this game, Jimmy Buckets. He was feeling it. There was a point in the third quarter where every time he got the ball, he was like, okay, I'm going to get right there, and then I'm going to go right there next possession, and then I'm going to do a spin, and I'm going to shoot right there, and it's going to go in. And I was watching this game, and I'm shaking my head. I'm like, God damn, he's on fire, man. He's cooking these dudes. It didn't matter who was guarding him. He was scoring. And that's the thing about the NBA is sometimes when guys just get hot, they're just going to get hot. And there is not a goddamn thing.
Every time. I will say it with my dying breath if need be.
And, they actually talked about that on JJ Redick's podcast. They talked about anybody in the NBA can cook you. And Darius Garland was on there, and he was talking about getting cooked by some random players. I don't even remember who it was. It was so random. But it might have been Tyler Ulis, maybe. I don't know. But, and that's the thing about Jimmy, man. Jimmy absolutely can be a star. I'm not going to say superstar, but he can be a star when he wants to be. And when he was cooking, I was like, whew, Jimmy's balling right now. Yep. The thing about the Heat is they don't shoot the three-pointer well.
Right.
And if they did, they would be serious. Like, they would be a serious team. They don't get enough out of Tyler Hero, I think. He has a game every once in a while.
Yeah.
He'll have a game every once in a while where you're like, holy shit, he did that, and then he'll just bump his averages up way the hell up, better than he is. That's my opinion on Tyler Hero.
He'll average like 22 points a game, but you'll equally get as many 30s as you do 12s.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it goes as a shooter. Give credit to Miami again for their low turnovers. They only had 7 turnovers, so good for them. But the Bucks only had 12 turnovers in this game, so that felt good. I felt like they handled the ball pretty well. They didn't have a lot of heavy turnover games this week. They had a 10 and the Clippers, 12 versus the Heat, and 16 versus the Blazers was the high. So I mean, that's not horrible, but it's pretty good for what we've seen.
Under 13, I'm happy. Under 12, I'm very happy.
I would agree to that. So the Bucks handled them on the boards. The points in the paint were pretty close. The Bucks dominated in fast break points. They shot the ball very efficiently, 46 of 88. They were getting whatever freaking shot they wanted to. And Giannis wasn't really just dominating and shooting every shot because he only shot 19 times. But he still scored 35 points, had 15 rebounds, and 11 assists. So, I mean,
follows up 54 and 19 with 35, 15, and 11.
And people still have the audacity to say he's not the best because of some advanced metric like 14 pages away on Jokic. It's like, just stop, bro. Just stop. Like, we're not doing this anymore. So, I mean, that's all I got with that. The Bucks, the Heat play everybody tough, but the Bucks, I feel like they were free-flowing. And, again, they had that blue jersey and court combo, and it's just, mamma mia.
All right. So I want to give the Bucks perimeter defense credit, and I think this was a concerted effort by Budenholzer and the coaching staff to switch a lot on the perimeter, to not give Tyler Hero those open looks and Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, all those open looks, because when they're do hit. But Grayson Allen, to his credit, he was in Tyler Hero's pocket on defense a lot. Grayson Allen played Tyler Hero tough defensively. So I wanted to give Grayson credit for that. Isaac said, get you a hype man like Thanasis. Everybody needs a hype man like Thanasis. Thanasis is the best hype man.
You just gave me an idea, Isaac, and I'm going to tell Tyler later, so thank you for that.
All right.
It's going to be sick.
Pat started this game 2 for 2 from the three-point line. It's good to see him bounce back after not as good of a shooting game against the Clippers. Giannis was very active at the rim against the Heat, which is something the Heat have actually done a pretty good job with over the years, is keeping Giannis away from the rim. Giannis had 13 points and 4 assists in the first quarter.
Damn.
And I know I shared this on the Facebook page, but at one point in the first half, the Bucks had number 21, number 22, number 23, and number 24 on the floor together.
Yep. That's a pretty decent lineup, to be honest with you.
And yeah, it is, and it works. They were out there with Joe Ingles, but it's a weird thing. It's just, I don't know, it's just one of those things that for some reason I find interesting because I'm weird, I guess. It's just one of the things that I noticed.
Don't say that the media will come after you. Don't say you're weird.
Yeah, or just bitter Packers fans. So you brought up the Bucks only had 12 turnovers against Miami. 5 of them were in the first quarter, so 7 turnovers in the last 3 quarters of the game. I will take that.
100%.
Heat really got in the zone in the second quarter. Chris Middleton spent a lot of time guarding Jimmy Butler, and we're in another situation where Chris Middleton is a solid defender. He was actually one of the Bucks' best defenders in this game. Miami, when shooting against Chris Middleton in this game, was a combined 2 for 10 from the field.
That's not great, but good for us.
That's very not great.
Not great.
But great for the Bucks, like you said. So 0-0 game, tied at halftime. Giannis had 18 points at the half. Chris Middleton had 16 points at the half. We go into the third quarter. What a third quarter. Like, it makes it sweeter knowing that the Bucks win this game. But purely as a basketball fan, what a fantastic quarter that was. Listen to this. The Bucks and Heat third quarter featured 4 ties and 11 lead changes.
They were going at it, bro.
That's fun basketball.
Yeah.
Butler scored 17 of his 32 in the third quarter. Did not score in the fourth quarter. Jimmy Butler did not score in the fourth quarter. He was 0 for 2 from the field. That was it.
Interesting.
Chris Middleton hit a buzzer beater at the end of the third quarter that gave the Bucks the lead 94-92. They did not give the lead back after that. They opened the fourth quarter with a 5-0 run. Grayson Allen hit a 3, gave the Bucks an 8-0 run after the timeout. Drew Holiday, 2 fourth quarter steals turned into 5 points off turnovers for him. Giannis put the exclamation mark on the game. And Miami in the fourth quarter, Miami was 9 for 22. That's 40.9%. The Bucks were 12 of 20, 60%. That's your fourth quarter. That's the game for the Bucks.
That's a big swing right there.
So we mentioned Giannis had that 35, 15, and 11. Chris Middleton in 20 and a half minutes, 24 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists.
Yeah, they made Chris go to the bench, and then Bud immediately sent him back out there like, I'm getting this last minute out of your ass. He comes in and gets a bucket immediately, and a big bucket. So, I mean, I was like, whatever.
Middleton was 9 of 14 from the field, 64.3%. How many times did we say last season, and in the offseason, we needed a 25-5 guy, and Chris Middleton in 20 and a half minutes scores 24, gets 7 rebounds and 4 assists.
Chris Middleton's the guy.
That's the guy we needed. Grayson Allen, 19 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Drew Holiday, 15 points, 6 of 9 from the field. Pat Connaughton, 14 points. Brooke Lopez, 9 points, 6 rebounds, 3 blocks. 23 assists for the Bucks. 11 missed free throws, 12 points off turnovers for Miami. 16 second chance points, 39 fundamental failure points. So the Bucks could have won this game even more just by cleaning up some of the fundamentals. But like you said, credit to Miami. They're a good, tough team. So let's move on to the Blazers game. And what did you see that stood out to you from that game?
First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Cody to come in here and join us. Our friend Cody, friend of the show, friend outside of the show, attended the game. He lives in the Portland area. So shout out to Cody being at that game. Okay, so two things. I want to point out two sick plays that happened in this game. Well, actually, first thing I want to point out is congratulations to Brook Lopez on getting to 15,000 career points. I want to congratulate Giannis on getting over 3,250 career assists. So that's cool. And then I want to talk about Giannis throwing the ball to himself and dunking it.
I have a point on that. So when you're done, I want to say something about that. Go ahead.
Okay. And then I want to talk about Damian Lillard just hitting a freaking random half-court three-pointer. I'm watching the game, and, Drew smartly, because you can get some dumb fouls, right? So you can just be standing there, the guy flops to call foul. He backs up. He's like, okay, you're not passing this thing. You're going to have to shoot it. It was kind of one of those, like, if you make it, like, hey, tip your cap, whatever. It is what it is. That was a cool highlight for you. They're going to show it on SportsCenter, but we're still going to win the game. And to his credit, he nailed it. I saw that and I was like, oh, damn. But Damian Lillard also leads the NBA in most shots made from 30-plus feet.
He's back-to-back Western Conference Player of the Week. So the thing that Giannis is doing in the East, like Lillard's doing it in the West.
Yeah.
Not as emphatically, but
yeah.
Back-to-back Conference Week.
Brook, and Isaac's talking about it. Brook was the man. And a couple weeks ago, Cody in the chat talked about how they're going to be without Nurkic. And he was thinking that Giannis was going to kill, and I'm like, I can see that. I mean, Nurkic is decent, but Giannis will probably kill him. And the guy that actually benefited from it most, it was his direct matchup. It was Brook Lopez, and he was getting everything that he wanted, mid-range, off the dribble. Like I said, I gave credit to him before. He's doing everything. We dominated him on the boards. Did you see the rebounding disparity? 55-28.
Doubled them up, bro.
Dude, that's a goddamn ass whooping. That is a goddamn ass whooping on the boards. 27 assists. I mean, Jesus. 17-21 on free throws is also very good for this Bucks.
I will take that every day of the week.
We just talked about free throws with the Badgers, and we've talked about this with the Bucks. The only guy that we really don't trust at the line, and whatever, if there's going to be, not everybody's perfect, and Giannis talked about it, I can't be perfect, God, they take something from me, is his free throw shooting, right? So they take his free throw shooting away from him. Everybody else that goes to the line, Drew Holiday, like you pointed out on the Facebook page, he's having a career year from the free throw line. I trust Brook. I definitely trust Chris. Now, to be honest with you, Chris
even
is like
Connaughton.
I mean, is Grayson still leading the league? I didn't check. Is he still leading the league in free throw percentage?
I didn't check.
I'll have to double check that when you give your point. But I mean, like to both of our points, free throws win games. The Bucks play defense. They can rebound because I'm pretty sure they're still number one in rebound percentage in the NBA. So they rebound, they make free throws, and they have the best player in the league. Tell me where their weakness is.
Yeah, and all-stars and defensive player of the year candidates and sixth man of the year candidates.
I'm working on it, Isaac, okay? I'm really working on it. I'm working on that Giannis impression.
Practice at home.
I do. I practice with Chantel.
God said I cannot be handsome.
Oh, once
get to the rim. Handsome. Some of that video was
that video was great. The Bucks led this game for 47 minutes and 38 seconds.
Yeah. When did those 22 seconds that they didn't lead the game come?
The beginning.
Right at the beginning.
That they literally led the entire game. That's ridiculous. So awesome. Awesome game for Cody to go to.
On the point of Giannis throwing lobs to himself, I've seen people ask the question, it does count as a missed field goal. It does not count as an assist. Just so people know that. Apparently Jake didn't know that either. It counts as a missed field goal, not an assist. So
bastards. He missed 5 shots and that was one of them.
Yep.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous.
that's how that goes in the scorebook.
Holy shit.
Yeah, Isaac said the old Tracy McGrady play. I remember when he did that in the All-Star game. That was awesome.
I remember when Shaq did it for some reason.
Yeah. Yes, Bill, it does also count as an offensive rebound, so that is true. I wrote this down in my notes, and then Lisa Byington said it right after that the first 3 field goals the Bucks made were made by 3 different players. And I wrote that down, and then like, damn it, like then Lisa Byington said it right after. And I'm like, can't have anything nice. Brook Lopez started this game 4 for 4. He had, I have it in here. 11 points in the first 4 minutes of the game, Brook Lopez. 11 points in 4 minutes.
God damn.
The Bucks had a 12-3 lead in the first 3 minutes.
Oh.
So Giannis got out to a bit of a slow start, and we got another 21, 22, 23, 24 game with Joe Ingles. But the reason I bring that up again is because the Bucks were switching everything 1 through 5 with Joe Ingles, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Wesley Matthews, and Pat Connaughton on the floor. They switched 1 through 5 on Portland.
Dude, that tells me that they're ready to play Boston. Being able to switch like that, because Boston runs a lot of screens.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Bill. Zora did she did tell Brooke before the game he only needed 20 for 15,000. Maybe that was the motivator he needed.
Real quick, did you hear what Marcus Johnson said? Did you hear what he said on the telecast? He said, let's just start making shit up. Let's tell him that he needs 20. He said he needs 20 rebounds to get to this mark.
That's right. You said he only needed like 25 rebounds to pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's what he said.
Just start making stuff up. I'm with it.
That's awesome. MarJon Beauchamp started the second quarter, so we got a little bit of some MarJon sightings while he was close to his hometown, so that was good for him. Mm-hmm. Portland cut the lead at one point to 26-22. The Bucks followed that up with a 12-2 run, and that was as close as Portland would get the lead. It was 4 points. Javon Carter started the second quarter 2 for 3 from the 3-point line. And so a couple things I want to highlight with the rest of the first half. One, Chris Middleton, since his return from his injury, has been doing a very good job of driving to the rim. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's been talked about, not by us, not by anybody, that Chris Middleton, since returning from his injury, has actually done a really good job of driving and getting to the basket.
We brought it up. I'm giving us credit. We brought it up. I'm not letting us go down with that ship. We brought it up, man. One of us brought it up. I remember.
I know I've brought it up at times last year as that like an underrated part of his game, but he's doing it a lot.
He's finishing too. Putting pressure on the defense.
Yeah, you talk about players getting better. Like that's a new wrinkle for Chris if he's driving and getting to the basket.
Agreed.
At least consistently. Like we know he's capable of it, but doing it consistently is something else. So I want to give the Bucks credit because Damian Lillard in the first half was 1 for 8 from the field. Portland as a team was 4 for 12 from the field. Or no, sorry. No, that's Jeremy Grant was 4 for 12 in the first half. Brook Lopez had 17 in the first half. Giannis had 9 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists in the first half, so he's damn near on triple-double watch after halftime. Yeah. Chris Middleton had 11 points in the first half. The third quarter opened up the first Bucks possession. Giannis goes up like he's going to dunk on Jeremy Grant, and then he just lets the ball fly out of his hand, and it goes high glass and just real soft off the backboard into the basket. Dude, that was pretty. Giannis goes up like he's gonna like do the LeBron dunk at the end of Space Jam 2 that gives him like 50,000 points, and then he just like Kyrie Irving just soft touch off the top of the glass for a layup.
That was nice.
It was nice. So Brook got that 15,000 points early in the third quarter, like you brought up. He's in his 15th season to score 15,000 points, so good for him. Giannis picked up his 4th foul with 7 minutes and 31 seconds to go in the third quarter. So that happened early in the third quarter, but the Bucks fed the hot hand, kept looking for Brook Lopez in the post, like I know you brought up. Bucks went on a 15-3 run, a lot of it without Giannis on the floor. That's encouraging to see.
Yes,
I want to give Marcus Johnson some credit actually, and this trickles down to Mike Budenholzer, who designed the play. But Marcus Johnson brought up a play that freed Pat Connaughton for a 3. Was that Pat Connaughton and Brooke Lopez were in the paint. Drew Holiday out on the perimeter. And Brooke Lopez sets a screen for Drew Holiday. And then Pat sets a screen for Brooke Lopez. Both of the guys go with Brooke. Pat goes out to the three-point line, wide open for three. That's great play design. That's good stuff. I'd love to see the Badgers do some stuff like that. I would love to see a Badgers run a play like that, say with Max Klesmit, Stephen Crowell, and Chucky Hepburn. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, 100%.
I got to bring it up because the Bucks held a lead by getting good shots. We've discussed this probably 4 or 5 times where the Bucks have gotten some big leads and let teams crawl back into games, and then the Bucks got to work hard to push the lead back out. They didn't have to do this game because they kept getting good shots. Their shot selection stayed strong when they had the lead.
Yes, sir.
That made me happy to see. That is progress from the Bucks in an area that I wanted to see them improve was their shot selection when playing with leads. They did that in this game. That makes me happy. I needed to hammer on that. So Damian Lillard, he did get his 28 points, and it's easy to say, oh, Damian Lillard had 28 points against the Bucks. Good for him. Listen to this. Drew Holiday guarded Damian Lillard for 5 minutes and 30 seconds. That's a lot for a Lions share of the game. He made 1 of 2 field goals. Wesley Matthews guarded him for 1 minute and 55 seconds. That's the second most that anybody spent on him. He was over 2 against Wesley Matthews. He was 7 of 18 from the field and 2 for 7 from the three-point line. 12 of Damian Lillard's 28 points came at the free throw line. So don't let that 28 points gas you up. The Bucks defended Damian Lillard very well.
They started using the high pick and roll, which really made me think about the Badgers as well. Right. But they used his speed to their advantage, and he was getting downhill on Brooke. But then the last one, Brooke adjusted and was a little half step quicker, and he ended up getting a block. And I was like, "Thank you, Brooke." I love that he was put in that situation because then he had to learn on the fly. Yep. And absolutely nothing wrong with that because you're going to get put in those situations again.
Right. I mean, if the Bucks say they get a first round matchup, say the Hawks, like Trae Young, that's the kind of thing they're going to do to that, except Trae Young's more likely to take a floater than to try to beat Brooke to the rim.
Yep. Okay.
Jeremy Grant, in 4 minutes and 10 seconds, guarded by Giannis. That was the most on the team. Jeremy Grant was 1 for 5 from the field. He was guarded by Wesley Matthews for 2 minutes and 50 seconds. He was 1 for 3. Guarded by Drew Holiday for 2 minutes and 35 seconds. He was 1 for 2. Guarded by Chris Middleton for 1 minute and 53 seconds. He was 1 for 3. He was 4 of 13 overall and 1 for 7 from the three-point line. Jeremy Grant is a guy who averages 21 points a game. He scored 13 points, and 4 of them were at the free throw line. Jeremy Grant only got 9 points from the field in this game.
He was getting clamped.
That's clamps.
I didn't feel his presence at all, and he's a good player.
He is a very good player. You brought up the rebounds already. Pat Connaughton, 11 points, 4 rebounds, 2 steals. Javon Carter, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Brooke Lopez, 27 points and 9 rebounds. Giannis, 24, 13, and 8 assists. Drew Holiday, 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 8 assists. Chris Middleton, 13 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. I mean, the Bucks just top to bottom controlled this entire game on both ends of the floor. Offense, defense, all of it entirely controlled by the Bucks.
I agree.
Only 4 missed free throws, like you said. They gave up 17 points off turnovers, which is a little high. 10 second chance points. That's 31 fundamental failure points. That means the Bucks played within their fundamentals as well. So great job by the Bucks. Now, this season, 26-4 in games where they have 23 or more assists.
That's a pretty big telling stat, I'll say.
Optimal, I would say.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with the Bucks. They play tomorrow in LA. They're playing the Lakers, and then Saturday again in LA against the Clippers, Isaac's favorite team. And then Tuesday, that home matchup with the Boston Celtics. What do you got for a record prediction for the Bucks?
I got 3-0. They're going to sweep the LA teams. I believe that's actually a back-to-back. I believe they play Thursday, Friday, by the way.
Is it? I thought it was Thursday.
Yeah. I believe they play a back-to-back, and then they have a day off. Or no, that would be 2 days off, and then they play the Celtics. I'm going to go 3-0. I'm going to go – they're going to sweep the LA teams because I'm sorry, Isaac. The Lakers are not great.
They're bad.
They're bad on defense, Isaac. I've told you this before. I mean, we were in chat earlier. They got nobody to stop ball on the perimeter. So
yeah, it is Thursday, Friday. Cool.
So I think that's going to happen. I think we're going to beat the Lakers. I think we're going to beat the Clippers. And then I think, just like the Badgers, man, I think that Tuesday game, that's a one you circle on your calendar. That's a team that deleted you, kicked you out of the playoffs last year. So that's one where you want a little bit of bragging rights. You want to know that you can win on your home court. So
send a message.
They won on their home court on Christmas Day. So we're playing on Valentine's Day now. So I think it's time for us to win on our home court and kind of establish that.
Yeah. I'm gonna say 2-1. I know it's tough. I'm gonna say the Bucks winning streak ends on Friday night because I think the Bucks are gonna rest guys that day.
Oh, I see you there.
I get that there's a 3-day off without games in between Friday night and Tuesday, but they're in the West Coast. It's a second of a back-to-back. Giannis has been on the injury report with knee soreness and has been playing all the games, obviously. Mm-hmm. But that game really just feels one where they're coming back from the West Coast on the second of a back-to-back. I feel like that's a game where they could hold out Giannis, maybe Brook.
Middleton,
maybe, or, maybe he'll just be another 20 minutes. And I think that's where the Clippers will be kind of looking to bounce back from some of their not great stretch. But if the Bucks don't rest anybody that game, I'll also say 3-0. But I feel just kind of the way that the schedule is working out, I feel like that's a game where they're going to sit guys, and the Clippers could potentially steal one from the Bucks. So that's where I'm at with that.
Well, the Bucks are coming off a long rest already going into that Lakers game, Isaac.
They probably could have just, rested last night. They were all way more worried about the record than winning, clearly.
Well, I saw some things about Anthony Davis that I did not like, and it's true.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anthony Davis, when he first went to the Lakers and they won that title right away, and he was showing that he could shoot threes, he could block shots, his ceiling and, the people's opinions on him was like he's a top 5 player. Right. And absolutely, when he is going, he's a top 5 guy. Like, I'm not going to argue that. The guy can handle the rock. He can shoot it. He plays defense.
Yep.
But the last couple of years, man, I'm going to tell you, he's taking some hits from a personal standpoint. Yep. And that photo last night of him sitting on the bench looking salty, and he did not play good, after LeBron broke the scoring record, I'm like,
the body language.
That's a bad look, man. And he may not have meant it that way, but, dude, you got to understand. First of all, you play for the Lakers, okay?
Right.
A lot of people watch the Lakers, okay? They're like the Cowboys of the NBA. Second of all, you're breaking the scoring record, so even more people are watching. Right. You're playing the same team as LeBron, dude. Get some goddamn perspective.
Yeah.
Fix your body language, man. That was bad.
Yeah. So I'm going to address Isaac's
that's true.
His 2 comments to end the show. He was playing well before his injury as well this year. Stop us if you've heard this before.
That's true.
And the other one is I heard D Rose might be headed to the Bucks. The Bucks are inquiring / interested. I don't think there's any framework of a deal. I think Jay Crowder is far more likely that ends up on the Bucks. So
cool. There's
all right, man.
Pat stays.
You got Pat stays. Pat stays. That's not a if. That's a statement. Pat stays.
Yes, Pat stays.
All right. You got anything else?
No, I'm good.
All righty. So be sure to tune in Friday night. We're going to be doing a Packers show this week. It's going to be Simon, Bryant, Jake, and myself. We're going to be doing 4 ways to fix the Packers. So we're each going to have 4 moves the Packers to make, 4 decisions to fix the Packers going into 2023. We're also going to discuss what we think is a consensus trade package for Aaron Rodgers, just because it's something that's going to be affecting our draft series, which I'm going to put the schedule out for probably either after the show tonight or early tomorrow morning. And we'll have that posted so people can see when we're going to be talking about which parts, which positions of the draft, and when we're going to be doing that. So thanks everybody for watching us tonight. You can catch us again on Friday. And if you don't watch the show live, or you can't catch the show live, or you miss half of it and you want to listen to the whole thing, you can do that on podcasting apps or on YouTube. So you can catch the whole show if you miss it. So thank you guys for watching and commenting along. And I will see you Friday.
Yep. See you Friday, buddy.
All right. Take care.